Alrighty, here we go. We are on the next set of notes, right? We're ready to go. And you all have your paper, you have your notebook, you have your pencil ready to take these wonderful notes, right? We're all set to go. Now, what I have to be ready with, and you all will be ready with as well, is our beautiful Desmo scientific calculator here, right? I have it here, ready to go for these types of problems, right? So, I go back here. First thing, always, we are going to continue on these percent more or less notes, right? Now, each time, each lesson, right, is getting a little more complex, a little more complicated, but we got this. We got this. We know exactly what to do, right? With practice, of course. Now, we don't know what to do automatically, but after we practice and after we rewind the video if necessary, then we're good. All right. So let us see here. Let's get a reminder that we're going to have a either percent increase or a percent decrease, right? We remember that. Increase, of course, means that the numbers are getting bigger. Decrease means that the numbers are getting smaller, right? We remember that we must change percent to rate R, and we remember that we do that by dividing percent by 100 will give us R, right? And we remember that A is the original value, right? A is the number that we start with, right? It's the number that we start with. It's the number that comes first in order, is A. And then R is the rate of change, or is the percent. How much is the number changing? Okay, so let us do an example first of an increase. Right. So we remember that when we are increasing, right, the formula is A. We know that this is A times, right? Parentheses means times. 1 plus, this is the important, it's plus because we are increasing. 1 plus R and then close parentheses. Both parentheses are very important, everyone. Okay, so let us read our question here. So it says, in the Los Angeles Times, it was reported that the number of COVID cases in Reseda in May was 240, right? And then went up by 5% in June. How many cases were there in Reseda in June? Okay, so let's highlight the important parts that we need for this problem, right? So let me change the size there. So what number are we starting with? Well, we know that it says is the number of cases of COVID cases in Reseda in May. So we're starting in May. So how many cases were in May? May was 240, right? And then it went up 5%. It went up, right? It got bigger. It increased 5% in June, right? June comes after May, right? That's why May is the starting value because it's before June. May, June, right? Then the question says, how many cases were there in Reseda in June? We want to know how many cases were after May. In June, after. So I know that I'm going to use this formula because it is increasing. So I'm going to say A parentheses 1 plus R parentheses is equal to, well, it says how many cases were there in Reseda in June. So I'm going to say June cases, right? I'm going to find out how many cases are in June. So I need to find out what, as always, I need to find out what A is and what R is, right? So I'm going to say A equals, and I'm going to say R equals, just like that. So how many cases did we start with? What did it say? How many cases did we start with? What is the first month that they're reporting in this article, right? It's in May, right? In May, there were 240 cases. So I'm going to say 240 right there. Then the cases went up 5%. They went up 5% in June. So I need to change this 5% into my R, and I do that by dividing by 100, right? So I'm going to use my calculator now, and I'm going to say 5 divided by 100, 0.05. So I get 0.05. So my important information is A is equal to 240, right? And R is equal to 0.05. So now, everybody, I know what I can substitute. So I know what A is. A is 240. So I can say 240 parentheses 1 plus, well, what is my R here? R is equal to 0.05. 0.05, right? Equal to June cases, right? JC, June cases. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to use my calculator and I'm going to plug this in exactly the way I see it with parentheses and all. So 240 parentheses 1 plus 0.05 parentheses. So I'm going to clear and I'm going to say 240 parentheses 1 plus 0.05 close parentheses gives me 252. So I'm going to say, so this gives me, these two give me 252 June cases, right? So I need to write this in a complete sentence though, right, everyone? So I'm going to say, the question says, how many cases were there in Reseda in June? So I'm going to say, in Reseda in June, that's not how you spell June, there were 252 COVID cases. And there you go. Look at that. That is what that looks like. All right. There's the first example. Look at that. Perfect. So make sure everybody copies that down, please. Very good. Copy down everything. Good job, everybody. Right. So this was an example of a increase, right? It went up. The cases went up. All right. So let's take a look at a decrease example. So let's take a look here. And okay. So we know that this is a decrease problem here. Let me get it zoomed in, and there we go. All right. So we know that this is a decrease problem because of our minus sign here, right? When something is subtracting, you're minusing it, you're subtracting it, it's getting smaller, right? So we get A parentheses 1 minus R parentheses. Parentheses means multiply. We must include the parentheses. Very important to include the parentheses, right? So let us read this question. In the local newspaper, it was reported that yearly robberies in Springfield, wait, isn't this where the Simpsons is set? Maybe it's Simpsons, right? Were down 30% to 91 in 2013 from 2012. How many robberies were there in Springfield in 2012? Now this one is a little different, everyone. So I'm going to start with, first of all, I'm going to start with writing my formula here. So I'm going to say A parentheses 1 minus R parentheses equal. Now, what are they asking us? So this question is asking how many robberies were there in Springfield in 2012? So I'm going to say 2012 robberies. Am I spelling robberies right? Yes. 2012 robberies, right? The year 2012. I'm going to put year 2012 robberies. What we want to know. So let's find out our information here, right? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight. So let's see. Local newspaper reported that yearly robberies in 2012 went down 30%. Okay. Down 30% to 91. Right? In 2013. Actually, you know what, guys? This is wrong. This is wrong right here. Right? 2013. From 2012. This is actually 2013 year 2013 robberies, right? Because the solution is always what happened afterwards. Just like in this problem here, right? The solution was June. June comes after May. So that's why June was here, right? So in this case, 2013 comes after 2012. Okay? So, let's go back. Down 30% to 91 in 2013. So, there were 91 robberies in 2013 from, everybody, look at this. I'm going to change this here because this is important. From 2012. Right? How many robberies were there in Springfield in 2012? 2012 comes before 2013. Right? 2012 comes before 2013. So we don't know the starting number. We don't know. Guys, look. We don't know the original value. We don't know. But what we do know is, let's here. You know what? Let's write it down. Let's say A equals R equals. So let's start. A, What is the starting value? Right? A is the starting value. But remember, 2012 is before 2013. And this says how many robberies were there in 2012. We don't know. So this is question mark. We have no idea. Okay. R is percent. We know that. It went down 30%, right? So this is 30 divided by 100, which is equal to, let's go over here and let's clear all, and let's divide 30 divided by 100, and that's 0.3, right? So I get 0.3. Okay? Now, let us plug in what we have. Let's substitute what we have. So we don't have A, unfortunately, but we do have R. Look at that. So let's substitute. Okay? A. Well, we already said it. We don't have A. We have no idea what A is. So let's leave A just like that. Okay? Parentheses 1 minus, well, I do have R. R is equal to 0.3. So 0.3. Like that. Equals year 2013 robberies. Do we know how many robberies were in 2013? We do. 91 in 2013. So we know that there were 91 robberies in 2013. So, again, this one's a little different. What we do is we do what's inside the parentheses first. So we're going to do these two right here. So let us use our calculator. We're going to clear, and we're going to say 1 minus 0.3. 1 minus 0.3. And that gives us 0.7. Look at that. So here I get A parentheses 0.7 is equal to 91. Right? Now, to solve for A, guys, remember, parentheses means times. Right? I want to get A by itself. Right? So I'm going to, the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I'm going to cross out 0.7 and I'm going to divide by 0.7. Cross out 0.7 and divide by 0.7. So 91 divided by 0.7. So let's use our calculator. 91 divided by 0.7 is 130. Look at that. So 130. So our question says, how many robberies were there in Springfield in 2012? So we are going to say, right, we're going to say, in Springfield, in 2012, there were 130 robberies. And that right there, kiddos, is our solution. Look at that. A little different, right? But nonetheless, not impossible. All right. And these right here, kiddos, are the two types of problems that you're going to see in this assignment, right? So make sure that you rewind if necessary, and to make sure that you are understanding, or you pause to take notes. And this right here, kiddos, is the lesson. Thank you.